playoffs are coming. The playoffs are coming. And am I excited? Well, yes and no. I hate playoffs. And my overwhelming emotion is one of fear, if I'm honest. Fear that after a long, hard season where Birmingham have dominated, we could lose the main prize at the last hurdle. Fear that the Daniel Hume injury is a problem too far. And I guess that Matt has more concerns to do with a certain Rio Rocket.
That's it, Antonio Lim back at Wimbledon Drive for the first time in 9 seasons. Wolves expected opponents in the playoffs. It's all been thrown into the melting pot.
Only in Speedway. Fantastic. Well, welcome to the Speedway Tavern once again. In the studio today we have got a certain Webby guru.
Good evening.
We have Mr. Matt Buck.
Good evening.
Joseph is absent.
No
change there then?
No, we should put a picture of him as well, like we did with Matt.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes. Do you not know? Oh, okay.
No.
It was probably better, wasn't it?
Yeah. And myself, GA. Interesting, isn't it? We got 2 teams in the Midlands, one in the Elite League, the other in the National League, and both waiting on other results to see who the hell they're going to be playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's fairly obvious who Wolves are going to have.
I think it's fairly
just
obvious.
Waiting for confirmation. So
yeah, I think it's fairly obvious who Birmingham's going to have. Really,
Derby, a local derby in the semi-final.
I think. Well, given that they get there, of course,
Yeah.
but it's looking more and more likely that they will.
Now, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it? Apart from the fact that I think we can beat them quite easily, and the Daniel Hume situation might be a problem. I think that's, it's a no-brainer, and it might even put a few more bums on the seats because Cradley might think, well, I might have a chance here. You don't, but so okay, so your thoughts and feelings on the situation about Antonio Lindback?
Well, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because as far as I was aware, the deadline for making changes had passed.
They seem to have found
another
little by rule.
Yeah. whether it's because it's replacing a rod who's got an injury. I mean, Antonio Lindback, in fairness, is a poor asset, so it's not as if they've just spent a load of money to buy another rider. But it's a strange one. I don't think anybody saw it coming. There had been 1 or 2 rumours, but once the deadline had passed, you thought, well, that was it. It was just rumours. But now that it's actually happened, and suddenly it's really given Paul a real boost going into the playoffs. And again,
possibly favourites now.
They possibly are favourites now. Yeah. I think up until about 24 hours ago, you were thinking that the possibility of the semi-final between Poole and Wolves was going to be close, but it probably will still be close. But Poole now probably would have the edge.
I think you're right, and they've done it again, haven't they? They've done it again. They did what they're going to possibly do to Wolverhampton and or Bellevue. What they did to Birmingham back in 2013. With the Greg Hancock situation.
Although in fairness, it was bringing Greg Hancock in for a rider who was injured, so.
Which is what they're doing now.
But
it's past the.
That was way before the deadline.
Yeah. So maybe there's a precedent set here. Maybe Birmingham can get a rider in to replace Zach Vitanek. I don't know who that would be, but just a thought. Okay, so before we. I do try to. Before we sort of move on with the show, and we'll talk about what's been happening in Wolverhampton, we'll look forward to what's going on Monday. Very, very crucial match, Cradley versus Kent, and see if we can work out what we think is going to happen there. We'd love to have your views. So how do you get in touch with us? Well, first of all, you can use our shout box, which is sports-radio.co.uk, and there's a little button that's on the top of the page, I believe.
I think it says chat.
It says chat, and you can check
by magic, it goes to
the chat, and you can join in. That's all good stuff. Yep. We know what we're doing here.
Do we?
Do we know what we're doing?
Really?
Oh.
There are other ways of getting in touch with us and participating in the show.
You can go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Brummies, and you can see and join in there. You can also join in on the Sports Radio page, which is Sports Radio 1, and the UK Tavern, Speedway Tavern page, which is something that I forgot.
Okay, so
He
if somebody,
only reads it every week. Doesn't he? So-
yeah.
I think it's Speedway UK.
The Facebook feed, we would love to have your feedback on that, because you can see us in full glorious colour.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Not pretty.
mainly you can see my microphone, but
Yeah. If I go on that, you can see me back.
it's something we're trying to improve and get better at. So any suggestions that you have
Yeah.
on that would be more than welcome.
Kind ones, please.
Right, wait for somebody to just switch it off. So.
Oh, ye of little faith. Faith?
Faith.
That's the word I'm looking for. Although looking at you, I might have been right in the first one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's been going on in the land of Wolverhampton?
Just the one mention that was on Monday, the derby against Coventry. Really, probably a match that was important just to get through without getting any more knocks. To be honest, Coventry had got nothing to go for. Wolves already in the playoffs. It was a fairly comfortable win. Not the best of racing. Both sides did play. No Kasper Zak for Coventry. No Freddie Lindgren or Jakob Torsell for Wolves.
Because?
Well, both of Lindgren and Torsell were riding in the playoffs in Sweden.
Right.
Christoph Kasperzak was at a function in Poland for his Polish league team, so pre-arranged. So, of course, the Coventry meeting was a rescheduled fixture from a write-off earlier in the season. So, yeah, Wolves finishing their regular season with a 52-41 victory over the Bees. Now we'll sit and waiting for the confirmation as to where Wolves will be on Wednesday, whether they'll be at Mulmore Green, or whether they'll be at the National Speedway Stadium, or whether they'll be at Wimborne Road. I tend to think it'll be all roads lead to the south for that one.
I think you
Maybe
probably
Wolves' playoff hopes will be going south as well.
because obviously Bellevue have finished
finished
top
as,
now,
as top, yeah.
and they will choose. You're imagining they will choose either Swindon or Lakeside, whichever one.
Well, I think with the elite, in course of the Elite League, I think all eyes will be on Purfleet tomorrow night. Swindon need a point to get there, but they haven't got a great record down at Purfleet, and Lakeside will know that they know what to do. They've just got to go for the win.
Yeah, it's going to be an
For the
interesting
win
match,
and
isn't it?
Stop Swindon getting a point, and they'll be there.
So your money's on Lakeside then to get
It's on
all the
I think
points?
Lakeside now. Yeah, I've been saying Swindon, but I think now
Well, yeah,
Lakeside have probably got the advantage.
Swindon basically dropped the ball by not getting a point at Bellevue.
That's right. I thought they would get. I thought they would push Bellevue close. I mean, they won there earlier in the season, and they've
They seem to be pushing, but and then it all sort of fell apart. Really,
yeah, they've got a
didn't
lot of riders who go well. Should go well on a big track like Bellevue. So it was maybe a slight disappointment, a slight surprise that they didn't get a result there.
it? Do you think that the Bellevue riders are now finally getting into their new track and getting a little bit of home track advantage where perhaps they didn't have
A little
before?
bit. Yeah, I think it's going to take a few. Probably maybe a couple of seasons for them to get a proper home track advantage.
And particularly in the reserve berth, I think, because they
Yeah.
outscored them 15 points to 1, I think, or something like that.
That's right, yeah. And they had a very good win against Poole, although Poole did battle back quite well and get a point on Monday. So yeah, it's going to be close, but I mean, we've been saying Bellevue are favourites. Now maybe the pendulum's swung towards Poole again.
A lot of that depends on how well Antonio Lindback actually performs. I mean, he's not been in this country since 2007.
That's right.
I think it is. So, yeah. You looked at me with sort of admiration that I knew that I can Google as good as the rest of you. I
know it was 9 years, so...
So, okay, so you would put Poole as favourites now then? Which would mean that you're expecting to be knocked out in the semi-finals.
Well, the one thing for certain really is that Wolves are going to have to be really on top form to get past Poole. Freddie Lindgren's been disappointing in the last few weeks, so we really need Freddie to come back to the fore a little bit.
Ty Woffenden?
Ty's been a bit hit and miss, I think, really.
Right.
He didn't have such a great meeting against Poole last week, although because he got injured in his and pulled out of his last ride.
Yes.
Wasn't completely convincing on on Monday either against Coventry. But I think you'd hope with the playoffs coming along that he'll rise to the occasion in that one. I think really he's probably. I think if he'd known that his Polish team were going to get into the playoffs, he probably wouldn't have come back to England. Because it didn't look like they were going to get in, and then somehow they managed to get in by fluke, if anything else.
They did cradling.
Yeah, so they managed to sneak away in at the end. So, yeah, I mean, the good thing for Wolves is, Carl Houth seems to have found some form again, which is good. Max Clegg, of course, as we saw last night, is riding really, really well at the moment. So, yeah, there's definitely a chance for Wolves, but, certainly it's been made a whole lot harder with the announcement today.
With the Rio rocket.
That's right.
And which we're all trying to work out where this rule suddenly appeared from, that they found that nobody else has found previously. I'm not saying anything there. It's just curious, isn't it? And whether it's something that Birmingham can use with the Zach Vitanek situation.
What's the old saying? If you can't
beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. I wonder if anybody out there has actually got the answer to that question. Whether can we take advantage of that rule, or is it just an elite league rule, or is it just?
Well, if you go on the BSF and ask Phil, Rose, he might be able to tell you. So.
Yeah, we'll get an answer from him, of course, in about 10, 20 years, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Okay, so let's have a talk about last night's match, the under-19. Entertaining enough, I thought.
Yeah.
What I saw of it. Thank you, M6,
right, yeah.
by the way.
No, there was some good races. I mean, we know there's a lot of good riders coming through at the moment. Unfortunately, there's not 16 of them, so there were a number of riders who were a little bit out of their depth. But the likes of Clegg and Ellis Perks and James Shanes, I thought, was very unlucky, to be honest. He rode really, 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 really well, and just that one engine failure cost him a chance. It
cost him, yeah. That's probably what gave Jack Smith the third place, and that James Shanes.
That's right, yeah. I suppose most of us really, from a Birmingham perspective, we're going to be on JPB making his comeback. So, well, of course, he rode at Kent.
Rode at Kent and did really well, and so he looks okay, doesn't he? He looks okay.
Well, in fairness, it wasn't a pressure meeting last night, was it? So
no, big relief to see him doing so well.
Yeah.
Farewell to Graham Reeve, said Olympic star.
Yes, we might come on to that. Graham Reeve has
stood down from his position at the VSBA
to go to the SCB.
That's right.
Probably a good move. Probably a
good move for whom?
Speedway, I would hope.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Good. So, good evening, anyway. Olympic Stan, I love that. Should be Para-Olympic Stan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paralytic Olympic Stan. You don't mind me saying that.
Talking of which, we ought to just have a sort of tip our hat to the Paralympians.
Oh, of course, absolutely brilliant.
100 gold medals we got to.
We already got more than we got in 4 years ago.
By a lot,
so,
just outstanding. Looks like we're going to finish in second place again.
Yep.
Which is incredible. You think?
Absolutely
think of the size of our country.
Unbelievable. Which just goes to show we know now what Speedway needs. Lottery funding.
Yes, exactly.
Hey ho. But it was interesting to hear, going back to last night, is it Neil Vaicher?
Yeah.
His remarks about he's saying that he believes that the British Speedway's time is coming, that in a few years down the line with some of the talent that we've got, watch out the rest of the world. What are your feelings on that one?
A bit to go yet.
Yeah. We have got some good riders.
We have, as I say, we have. As I say, we don't have 16 of them because that showed clearly last night. I just hope now that in particular, of course, I'm talking about Max Clegg. Really, that in the winter he's brave and decides to not ride in the National League next year, because I think we've had a lot of rides over the last few years that have stayed in that league a bit too long and stayed. In
Well,
the
he's
comfort
established
zone.
himself in the Premier League now, hasn't he?
That's
Done
right.
quite
Yeah.
well.
So I'd like to think that he wouldn't be riding in the National League next year. I think that's the mistake Ashley Morris has made. He's gone back into that league, and I think it was a backward step. And I think it was a mistake from Crowley to do that as well, because it's left them, weaker at the bottom end.
Yeah. And they suffered from that through the whole season, haven't they?
I mean, his away form really. He's not the sort.
That is the proof of the pudding, isn't it?
Not the sort of rider who gets 13, 14 away from home. So
that's the proof of the pudding, and I think that the reason that Britain are suffering on those stakes is not just down to the lack of riders, although that has been true, or a lack of decent riders. It's decent riders not having the opportunities. Sometimes, I know we criticise them for not moving up, but sometimes they don't have the opportunities. Adam Ellis didn't get a Premier League place.
He was offered Premier League place.
Not last year. So he didn't get a Premier League place last year, which is what he would have been better off, really.
Well, when you had earlier in the season, of course, you had Craig Cook initially denied a chance to ride for Peterborough, and then later in the season they've cleared them to allow Kenneth Bier to ride for them.
Well, only in Speedway, as we say. But the other side of that coin is there's just not enough tracks. There's not enough meetings. If there was more meetings, you wouldn't have so many riders riding in so many different leagues, because they wouldn't need to. From a monetary point of view, if there was more meetings, they'd be on the track more, be getting riding more against opposition and learning their craft more. I think all of that plays a part in the. So there's lots of bits to that jigsaw that have got to come together, really, and which sort of makes you wonder about one big league, doesn't it?
Well, it does. Of course, it was tried about 20 years ago, and it didn't really work, unfortunately, because it was. I think a lot of promises were made that weren't kept. I think if they did go down the one big league rule again, it would be on the Premier League's terms. I don't think they'd want to enter in the same sort of thing.
I think it would have to be on the Premier League's terms, yeah. But I mean, you look at the teams in the Premier League now vis-a-vis the riders they've got compared to the riders the Elite League have got. It's 50% the same riders.
Yeah, that's right.
So the sort of difference between the two leagues has got to be coming together, hasn't it? Just because of, they're using the same riders, so it's got to be coming together.
Obviously, there's a few more of the very top riders now starting to come back over here, whether albeit probably on a temporary basis. So, but
which is whether that's an answer, I don't know. But it was good to. I enjoyed watching a match with no pressure on it for us. I thought that move by Max Clegg on the last corner of the last lap to actually take it was a great way to finish the whole meeting, great way to win the title, and it was quite a stunning move. Although James Shanes could have stopped it if he could have done, if he hadn't, particularly as Max Clegg nearly got him on the lap before with exactly the same move. But under 19, that's experience.
That's right.
He won't do it again, possibly. But he was the best rider on the night anyway. So
he was,
yeah, by a long chalk. Great to see Jack Smith get on the. He was absolutely wrapped by that, though. When you think about it, he's only 16. He's got a few more of them to come.
That's right. So
he was over the moon about it. I think probably James Shanes would have got that if it hadn't been for the engine failure.
So it was unlucky for him. But there's another one I like watching. James Shanes. I think he's a really exciting young rider, a lovely little style. Yeah. So I think he's got the potential to go a long way.
So all good stuff. So let's look forward then to an important meeting on Monday, which is Cradley against Kent. And in fact, we'll have a look at the National League table if we may. There we go. It's all working. You see, he's doing well today, isn't he?
Oh dear.
So
I'm just a slave.
You can see how important this is. So you've got at the moment Kent in second place, and I think that's probably where they're going to finish. Eastbourne in third place, and that's probably where they're going to finish. They've still got a few matches to.
3 matches in hand. So
Bellevue.
Yeah. Eastbourne.
I like Eastbourne. Bellevue got a fair few.
Still too far.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they are, as you mentioned earlier off air, Matt. They are picking the matches because they're not going to get them all in before the cut-off date. So they're sort of picking the matches that they play.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to get the ones that I think they're going to get something
No,
out
they're not
of.
going to. I mean, by all accounts, they haven't made any attempt to rearrange the Birmingham match. So.
one, which is actually bad news because that's riders not getting another payday.
Yeah.
I think that's bad form, to be honest. I think, to be fair to Bellevue, their focus is sort of on a bigger prize.
Yeah.
Or what they would consider a bigger prize. So you've got Cradley on 42 points and Bellevue on 32 points, but you've got 4 matches in hand. Bellevue have got over Cradley, which is why it's a very important meeting for Cradley, because we don't think Bellevue's going to get all their meetings in. They get 3 points. I think they're probably going to make it, aren't they?
I think Cradley will make it now, to be honest.
Will they get 3 points against Kent, or will Kent beat them?
I think they'll beat Kent.
You think they're going to beat Kent?
I think they'll beat Kent, yeah.
Because I don't think there's that much difference between us and Kent.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of beat them quite easily when we went
Yeah,
down
but I
there.
think they'll beat Kent, to be honest.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, different track, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Wolverhampton tracks. Talking of which, I think we should have our home matches at Kent from now on. I'll
Can you
explain
just say
that
there's a big
later.
fly thing in it?
Yeah, I know, I was
Yes.
just watching it. So.
Yeah, he's called Matt. Anyway. So Cradley versus Kent is going to be one for us all to watch, because I think at the end of that match we know probably who we're going to be playing.
Yeah,
Because
Birmingham will pick Cradley, I think, if they get in.
I think it's a no-brainer, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, we can beat them. We will beat them, and hopefully
I mean,
it'll be a
really,
big payday.
and of course, really, you'd want the first leg at Perry Bar, I think, wouldn't you? So.
Why?
Well, the thing is, if you know,
I can see
Birmingham go to Cradley and win comfortably, then there's not going to be that many Cradley fans coming over.
I understand
so
what you're saying.
why not
yeah.
take the Cradley fans' money and then beat them? So, at home, so.
I like your thinking. This man is class. I like your thinking.
Been attacked now. Just catch up. If British Speedway wants rule change, dissolve the BSPA. It's boring, I know, but this has to be the way forward. British Speedway needs to lose TV coverage! Exclamation mark. Then maybe a break away can happen, and Brummies will take Cradley.
Well, let's take those points one by one. I understand where Stan's coming from, by the way. If British Speedway wants real change, dissolve the BSPO. Unfortunately, British Speedway is the BSPO.
Yeah.
That's your problem. You need promoters to say, well, we're not going to be part of the BSPA, and the BSPA turn around and say, well, the SCB won't license you.
Yeah.
You have to call yourself something else, not Speedway. It's a whole thing. It really is a whole thing. What would be far better and far easier is for the BSBA to actually sort themselves out and change things around from within.
Yeah.
And you can do that with other promoters and voting if there's enough of them. So that's a possibility. That's more of a possibility, I think, than there being any. I would love there to be. It would shake things up if there was a breakaway Speedway series or whatever you want to call it. I think it would really, really shake things up. But I don't think it's possible to happen in the current climate.
No, I don't think you would. I don't think the current promoters would have the money to do that. So.
No, so that unless a Bernie Eccleston come in. Funnily enough, Bernie Eccleston might be out of F1 by the end of this next week or so.
Spare time on his hands.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. Yeah, that'd be good.
So
It does need something like
it needs something
Bernie
like
Eccleston.
it does.
Yeah.
And that's the change that really needs to be made.
Yeah.
The BSPA needs to go on. It needs to look at the Formula One model actually,
Yeah.
and go that direction. It'd be so difficult for them to do. I can understand why it would be difficult to say to somebody, "Here, this is my livelihood. I put my money into this business, but I'm giving you control over it."
Yeah.
That would be a difficult thing to do. But it's what it needs. It's what it needs. British Speedway needs to lose TV coverage, then maybe a breakaway can happen.
Yeah.
I don't think that would make it any more likely for a breakaway to happen. I'm not sure that the way Speedway is covered on television is the best way for it to be
I
covered.
I think the problem really is that you look at all the other sports that, and we've taken Sky as the main example because they cover the Elite League and Premier League, is that the money that has been generated from Speedway from the Sky deal hasn't really been invested properly. It's basically gone into propping the league up. So it's just to a point really where now it's become almost dependent.
Well, I think they thought they got a cash cow that was just going to keep coming, but of course, what happened was all the crowds went.
That's right.
You
know, at the end of the day, if you're, so even if you weren't a Speedway fan and you were sort of flicking through the channels or whatnot, and you watched a Speedway meeting and you saw a crowd of basically one man and his dog, it doesn't look particularly good on the cameras, does it? So
no, it doesn't.
whereas if you watch a sport and it sounds like there's a cracking atmosphere and a massive crowd, you'll think, I'm not going to look at that.
Go to that, yeah. So it needs to be looked at. The coverage needs to change in some way. I'm not a broadcaster. I don't know what the ins and outs of it all are, but a weekly magazine show would be interesting. With
I think a highlights program would be better, to be honest, and then cover maybe one meeting a month.
Yeah,
live.
because then you
definitely a highlights.
Yeah,
people need to know what it's about.
I mean, that's what.
Yeah,
exactly. I know that there's all those different things and all happening at the same time, etc., etc.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah. So what else did Stan have to say? You've
sorry. He's talking about a breakaway, isn't he? So there we go.
It's okay. Brummies will take Cradley in the playoff. I think we're everybody's pretty sure about that. God, we'd be surprised if we took Eastbourne, wouldn't we? That would.
I think you'd question Groves or his son, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Then the Speedway can be renamed UK Dirt Track Board with someone like BT Sport involved.
You couldn't have Riot. Well, you couldn't have Riot, then, could you? If it was Dirt Track Board.
The problem that you get.
Board, maybe.
Well, there is that. Okay, the problem that you've got with that, right, is that first of all, you're not going to find a promoter brave enough to do it.
Yeah.
You need more than one. Who's going to ride? It's going to be any of the Speedway riders, because the minute they ride for one of these dirt track or whatever you want to call it,
it'd be like the Black League.
Yeah, they would say, well, you're not allowed to ride for England. You're not allowed to go on the GPs. You're not allowed. That would be.
Was it the black licence tracks that in the 60s before the leagues were amalgamated in 65? Something like that,
so that's the problem. That's the big problem, and that's why it's not going to happen. I'd love it to happen.
I think that's what happened with Parker and Fairman, wasn't it, in the 60s? Yeah. That's what they did, but sadly there's promoters of that ilk aren't around anymore. So.
No. And all that the loopholes that enabled them to do that have all been
filled in.
Yeah, so it's... Sky will drop their money down every contract. That's interesting. I think that's certainly happened.
Yeah.
I think that certainly happened. But they've had a monopoly on Speedway. Ain't got that monopoly anymore.
Well, you would argue that they've probably lost the best speed, haven't they, in the form of the GPs and the World Cup. Eurosport now obviously do the Swedish league, which is arguably a stronger quality league.
They ain't the only player in the thing. BT must be interested in it. You would think.
I think at some point they may well be. I mean, the contract with Sky's got another couple of years to run, I think.
So that might be good. Still think terrestrial TV should be where it's at. I think BBC should look at it. They've lost F1. They haven't really got any motorsport at all on BBC now, and they get this for a song compared to F1. And that's where it needs to be on terrestrial TV. Don't you think? That generates. Once it's on Freeview, and people can watch it without paying.
You've had Speedway on BBC 5 Live. They've in the past they've done live meetings, but it's not really the same, is it? Because more people watch television than listen to BBC radio. So
yeah. So that anyway, maybe that's a possibility. Maybe we should all be reminding the BBC that there's more than one motorsport available.
GA has painted the future of UK Speedway, which is probably correct. So UK League Speedway is finished 10 years down the line.
Well, let's hope not. It is very much a fingers crossed.
If they carry on the way they're going, it probably will be finished.
Yeah, I don't.
Unfortunately,
I'm
hoping.
So let's hope that you have to hope at some point somewhere goes, come on lads, we need to sort this out, otherwise it's not going to happen. But well, I don't. Okay, maybe this is that's a conversation that I would love to have actually. Perhaps towards the end of the season. Right now, I want to concentrate on the fact that possibly we're going to win every team event there is in the National League. Yep. It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Both,
It'd be nice.
You know, at the moment, your gut feeling is that both finals are going to be Birmingham against Eastbourne.
So we're going to our last two matches are all both going to be
against Eastbourne. It's like the 70s again, isn't it?
Bye. Yeah, I bet you that knockout cup match is going to be invoked both by Eastbourne saying, you know, we need revenge.
Yeah.
And by us and saying, come on lads, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
Get Arthur Browning on the mic talking about it. We'll be here all day. Right, okay, get me talking about it, you'll be here all day, to be honest. So, we went down to Kent for the semi-final of the Knockout Cup, and we did it again. We beat them more...
convincingly.
But we beat them more at their place than we did at our place. That's why I said earlier, perhaps we should have our home matches at Kent, because we seem to ride it better. I think we got the track right. Getting the track right is going to be crucial to us now. Because we haven't been getting the track right. It was right for the second half of the meeting against Kent, which is when we pulled away.
Yeah.
We need to get the track right. We need to have lines that...
Was it a good crowd for the Kent meeting? Because I wasn't there.
Say that again?
Was it a good crowd for the first leg? Because I wasn't there for that.
It was okay. It was okay. That's all I can say about it, really. Yeah, but I mean, it was a good match because, you know, I mean, for the first half of the thing, we were all thinking, because it was just. I don't think we actually went in front until heat 7 or heat 8.
Yeah.
That sort of, and then it was just like, bye bye. We had a bit of luck on the way, but you need to ride your luck, don't you? But the away leg, there was only one team in it, right from the start. Bang! I think we must have just demoralised them. So much so that I really hope Kent beat Eastbourne. And they have been to Eastbourne and beaten them. So,
although Eastbourne did have riders missing, and Eastbourne did have injuries in that meeting as well, which possibly contributed to that. So.
Oops, sorry, I'll bring it down a bit. Here we go. Let's face it, Speedway's locked 20, 30 years behind motorsport entertainment. This is because of the BSBA and GA's weak promoters.
I think the presentation of it is definitely locked 20, 30 years in the past.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
You got people like Peter York still presenting Speed, who were past the sell-by date in the 80s. So.
I mean, I can't disagree with anything that Stan's saying, unfortunately. There are several things that I've identified, and that is that, I mean, last night's meeting went once they'd got... You can't do anything about people falling off and everything. That happens. But it went bang, bang, bang.
And that's what you want.
And you need that.
Yeah.
But you need to fill in the empty spaces.
That's right.
People don't like a vacuum.
Standing around watching the tractor go around.
This is... I mean, it's why all the TV... Have you noticed this? Every single TV station, they all have make sure they have their brakes on at the same time.
Yeah. So
that you don't go flicking. I'm lucky for them. There's the BBC. You can flick onto that. But you do. Do you flick?
Yeah. I'll flicker. I'm a flicker.
So, you know, and we've all got that mentality now of, oh, my time's being wasted here. Let's find something else to you know. We've all got that mentality, and it happens all the time at Speedway. And the answer's simple in a way. First of all, make it run quicker. Got to make it run quicker. You can't do anything about crashes and stuff like. But crashes are actually not so much of a problem, because that's quite interesting when people crash.
Part of the thing, isn't it?
So when people crash, and then you go and find out whether they're okay, and you clap them when they get up. That stuff is happening then.
Yeah.
and that you need to be doing something, almost anything.
Well, you're going to mention the start rating from a few weeks ago, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that was just ridiculous. You also need to think, okay, the ambulance drivers looking at a ride and nothing's going to happen. Let's get the track grading done now.
Yeah.
So that we don't do it the next heat when we would normally do it, and then you've got 2 flipping long breaks.
Yeah.
You need to do things like that, and your presenter has got to have something to say to the audience in that time. He's got to be giving information. He's got to be interviewing riders, interviewing the track man. Nobody ever does that. Why not?
Well, this is a very good question, I think. So
Why not? Why interview? God forbid they come to me, but interview one of the track staff. Do something.
Yeah, do something different.
Yeah.
Interview an extra order, even bring an extra order.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
interview somebody in the audience. Find somebody that it's their first match.
I mean, I know Porky's not the most popular person at
he fills the
Munmore
gaps.
Green. Really.
He fills the gaps.
He should be in the pits interviewing riders, not on the centre green. So,
well, that's possible as well,
in my opinion. But that's. I know other people probably say he should be as far away from Munmore Green as is possible, but that's a...
But the biggest thing for Speedway, this wasn't what we was going to talk about today, but this is why the shout box is so good. So, join in, guys. The biggest problem that I've identified at Speedway is that it's such an adult environment. There's nothing there for kids. Nothing. And it would be so easy to provide things for the kids. So if you go to, as a for instance, Scunthorpe, they've got in the corner a little playground. Loads of kids playing in that.
Yeah.
Might not be watching the Speedway, but they will be aware of it, and they will come. Some of them will come, and they're paying to get in.
You can't expect 6-7-year-old kids to stand there with the parents watching the Speedway. They haven't got the attention.
Not in this day and age, when they've got the flip.
I didn't do it, so when I was that age.
Well, exactly, and they've got the DSs, and they've got the all these things that can. Well, smartphones.
It's really showing that they don't have apps, so that they don't bring in apps that where you can interact. With other fans
about
and
this,
like
yeah.
this,
We spoke about this. Apps would be Speedway's absolutely perfect for it when you can put all sorts of details about a particular rider and little interviews and what his times have been. This is all sorts of stuff that you can put on. The programme should be on an app.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people do now anyway. Their apps are available. Well, why don't the Speedway clubs have their own apps?
I mean, it's got to be about 3 years now since I last filled in a paper programme.
And talking about paper programmes, why have we still got paper programmes? If people diehards want them, fine, print them. But why are they not on PDF, where they can put them on their smartphones and read them on their smartphones, where people that are not even at the match can download them and get them, and so people and contribute to what's happening with the club? Why isn't that happening? So it's just just simple things, and maybe programmes that update themselves.
Yeah.
So you haven't got to put the score in; it happens for you.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
all of this is possible.
People now don't want to spend the evening writing stuff down, especially when there's a lot of team change, and you've got to keep writing all the changes in your programme. So
all of this is possible. Olympic stands on form tonight. The most interesting people are the ones that don't agree with the whitewashed non-stick wallpaper people. Birmingham still has a few of those. I'm not entirely sure but yeah, I think it's just more of the same, isn't it, really, is what we're saying. So, but also simple things for the kids. Riders coming out and giving tear-offs. They love it. I do it sometimes when we have a break. I will take them and give them to kids. The kids come up to me and they love it. It's a simple thing. How much more would they love it if it was a rider giving it out there? Who maybe signed it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a simple thing.
I always think it's a shame as well when, maybe not so much when a rider knows that he's got 2 rides on the trot, so he wants to get back to the pits, but when they've won a race, why they don't come round and do a lap of honour?
They tend to do more in the National League.
They do it in the National League. They don't do it so much in the Premier League, and they do it even less in the Elite League. Some of the riders do. Riders like Sam Masters will do it when And Stephen Ty Wuffin will come round and wheelie, although he did fall off doing a
It should be
wheelie
in
on Monday. But
it should be in their contract. To be honest, it should be in
Yeah.
their contract. They should have to do it. I would. I mean, think just stupid things like somebody with a Brummies flag to give to the rider round.
yeah.
You know, it's cheesy, but people.
Well, they used to do it at Wolves years ago when they used to give the rider the checker flag to take round.
Right.
They've stopped doing that now.
Yeah,
So.
but you know, it's all stuff like that should be. Everything that puts bums on seats, that entertains people, the wow factor, the whole. And promoters used to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can remember whenever we had a first meeting at Birmingham, there would always be a celebrity coming round. You know, it would get people. And could you imagine? I don't know, Ozzy Osbourne coming. He's a Brummie lad. Just off the top of my head, you know, something. Yeah, it would attract people that wouldn't necessarily come to Speedway.
That's right.
And then witness it. Anyway,
Big Ron as well. I mean, Big Ron used to go to
he did.
Perry
Yes,
Bar years ago.
Yeah.
When
we've had an
he was
interview
like that.
with him talking about Speedway, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
So-
So anyway,
and still
Right.
lives. As far as I know, he still lives locally as well, doesn't he?
Right.
Ron?
it is 8:45.
Good grief.
Yeah. A few other things I want to get through. We've covered Birmingham. We've covered their Kent match. We're pretty sure it's going to be against Cradley. We need to say get better, Daniel, and don't. It's going to be so tempting for him to just get on the bike a minute he thinks he can. Listen to your doctors, mate, because your health is much more important than us winning the National League trophy. Want you back? Of course we do. But look after yourself. Do what your doctors tell you to do. And yeah, that's. But please come back. So yeah, that's that. We had a little matter of a GP,
We did indeed, yes.
which I understand Jason Doyle won 2 on the trot now, 3 GPs. Is he the most winningest GP?
Winningest.
He's won more GPs than anybody else this
else,
season.
yeah.
Yeah, so
In second place. Has Greg Hancock actually won a GP this season?
he's won one, I think.
One.
I think he's won one, yeah.
Right.
But you know, he's been consistent again. So
You've got to say though, Jason Doyle's probably favourite at
I
this
think
moment.
really,
isn't
you know, without being disrespectful to Jason Doyle, who's having a brilliant season, it's probably a case now where possibly this could be his only one and only chance of
Really?
winning the World Championship. He's, to me, as well as he's ridden this season, he's not a rider that is going to go on and win 2 or 3 World Championships, I think.
he? Oh, that's an interesting comment. Because you would have picked...
Because you look at some of the... Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of some of the other riders that are coming through now. Not just Ty, who's going to, you know, who's disappointing season by his standards. You know, you've got
Still in third place, then.
yeah, Pavlichki, Smarslik, Limbach possibly. He's come back to form in recent months. You know, there's a lot of riders that are capable of beating each other now, so it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, Jason Doyle wins 1 World Championship, he'll be happy.
Well, that's
you
a
know.
bucket list,
Well,
isn't it?
well,
It's a
right,
target.
I know there's riders who've won more than that, and you know, I don't think they're. You know, someone like Ivan Major who won 6 World Championships. I don't think he'd be 6 times happier than winning it than Jason Doyle would be for winning 1. But yeah, to me, it's possibly going to be Jason Doyle's one and only chance. So he's got to go for it at the end of the day.
Well, certainly got to go
Probably
for
why
it.
he's taking quite a lot of risks in a lot of his JPs, and that could be the one thing that could come back and.
I think
stop him
Jason
winning the
Doyle's
World
always been a
Championship
rider
himself.
that's
Yeah.
taken risks.
Whereas
hasn't
someone
he?
like Greg Hancock doesn't take risks.
No.
He's very experienced. He's been there, knows what it's all about. And he's got nothing to lose now. He's proven everything in his career.
Not sure he doesn't take risks. He took risks flying up Nicky Pedersen.
Yeah, well, I think that was a heat of the moment. I think so.
So okay, well let's mention a few other riders vis-a-vis. I've used that twice today now. I don't even know what it means. Looking ahead into the future, and I mean, well, Greg Hancock is the first one to look at. I mean, we keep saying, well, he's going off the boil now. He's going, but he's leading the thing at the moment.
You can never write Greg Hancock off. Never like Greg
46.
Hancock. 46 years of age now, so...
How long can he go on for?
Well, at the end of the day, he's still winning races, so why would you stop?
Well, yeah.
At the end of the day. So, I would not put it past him to be still riding in the GPs when he's 50.
That would be a great. That would be.
It would be a fantastic achievement.
Do you think that's his target?
May well be his target. I think probably his target is to try and win as many world championships as he can. But that would be a really good thing to sort of crown his career if he could do it. And I think he's got a reasonable chance of doing it as well.
Got to stay fit. Got to stay injury free.
And that's where he's been fortunate. Very, very, very few injuries in his career.
Yeah.
Is
that fortunate, or is that just sensible riding?
Sensible, I think. I think probably slightly biased, obviously, but for me, Sam Amalenko was a better rider than Greg Hancock. Billy Hamill, I think, was a better rider than Greg Hancock.
But
the only difference is, particularly Sam had a lot of bad injuries. Billy Hamill had some bad injuries as well, and that after a period of time, they do start to take the toll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg's been fortunate that he's avoided that.
Chris Holder.
I still think Chris Holder maybe came back a little bit too quickly from that smash that he had.
I think that's
Coventry.
fairly obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. On his day, he's still capable of doing it, but he hasn't got that level of consistency. And again, like I was saying with Jason Doyle, that possibly may well be that's
the question I was going to ask.
May well
because
be only one.
At the time, I think we probably thought he's got a few more to come here, because he was well on it, wasn't he?
That's right.
But then that is what we was talking about. It's that injuries.
And I think as well, probably him more than anybody was affected by Darcy Ward's crash.
Yeah,
so
I think that's absolutely true. Nicky Pedersen. No spring chicken.
Love him or hate him, you can't ignore Nicky, can you? But he's been disappointing this season.
In all sorts of ways.
I mean, in fairness, probably his glory days were gone anyway, I think. His 2007, 2008 form. But one thing that always kept him up there was his desire. I haven't really seen that from Nicky this season. He may well not be in the GP next year, but chances are if he doesn't get in the top 8, I think he probably will be picked. Which I think is whether he should be picked or not is a debate.
Well, that's another argument, yeah.
But I think you're probably looking at that's probably in there for Nicky, 3 World Championships, which puts him up there. But I think winning another one's probably beyond him now.
So, and you mentioned some of the newer riders. I mean, Schmarzlick's good rider coming up.
I like Bartek Schmarzlick. I really like Bartek Schmarzlick. He's already won a GP,
he's won a GP,
as well.
Yeah,
I think Piotr Pawliczki, will win a GP at some point. He was very, very impressive at Cardiff, which is a track that a lot of the Poles sometimes have tended to struggle at, although he did do well on the green as well, so which is quite similar to Cardiff.
Of course, the thing that is noticeable is that all these riders we're talking about are Polish.
Yeah.
That's a worry. Where's the next Dane going to come from? Where's the next... Well, I suppose you could say Jason Doyle, the Australian. Where's the next Australian coming from? Where's the next Swedish rider coming from?
Sweden have got a lot of problems. Antonio Lindbäck's had a good season, but Andreas Jansson's obviously now probably not going to rise again this season. He may well drop out of the GPs. Freddie Lingman's back in here, but I don't think he's World Championship material now. I think chances of that are gone now. Sweden have never really replaced Tony Rickardsson, who was utterly dominant during his days. So, yeah, you may well be waiting for a while before you get another. There are some good young Swedes coming through, but I think they're some way off reaching World Championship standard. Same with the Danes as well. Eric Gunnarsson's done a lot of good work with the Danes, but that seems to have dried up a little bit now. You got Mikkel B. Jensen, Jepsen Jensen.
But they've
had a go, and they haven't. It's not really worked out for them.
Haven't they?
Stalled. Yeah, I think that's probably the right word.
Yeah. Which is interesting because you can say that if you look at Britain, there is a couple of prospects that are coming through that you could say, well,
I think probably
possibly.
I think the one that sticks out is probably Robert Lambert, isn't it?
Of course,
but I think he's a couple of years away. Craig Cook, I think you'd be very excited about him if he was a bit younger.
Yeah,
but
didn't affect John Louis.
Didn't affect John Louis, no, in fairness, but...
And Greg Hancock's proven that you've got time.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's interesting. But there are more possible prospects coming through, possibly from GB setup at the moment than there are from the Danish, the Swedish.
Be nice to think that this American's going to come through, but I think that's a way off now as well. So unfortunately, I know Billy Hamill's doing some. You're obsessed with that thing, aren't you?
I've been messing about with a bit of coding, and I've managed to. If Stan actually looks in the top right-hand corner, he can actually see us as well, eh?
Oh, okay. On the sports radio.
Yeah. Isn't that clever?
That's cool. Yeah, he's working well. Okay, so who's going to win the GP?
I think Jason Doyle will do it.
You think
the next one is Stockholm, which I think will suit him. Greg Hancock obviously will want to do well there. That he's where he lives now. But I think Jason Doyle will do it. I'm not so sure Ty's going to do it now. I don't think
doesn't quite have he seems to be on it.
Unfortunately, he's had a few knocks this season as well. But I think probably may well be just try and salvage a medal and regroup and come back stronger next year. There's definitely more to come from Ty Woffington, I think, in terms of World Championships.
We haven't spoke much about Ty Woffington's decision not to ride for Team GB next year, and I'm wondering because
there's still a lot of mystery surrounding why he's done that, isn't it? So
yeah, presumably stuff will come out on that, but
whether he may well, you never know. He may well.
I'm just wondering whether his head's quite in the right place at the moment, and that's why he's suffering a little bit in the GPs.
I think probably, personally, I think he would have been, this is coming from somebody who's a big Ty Woffington fan, but I think he probably would have been better off making that announcement in the winter rather than midway through a season, especially on the eve of a GP. So.
Well, it sounds very much like an emotional statement rather than a thought out, which is where I'm sort of coming from with it. Is his head in the right place? I mean, I don't know the bloke. I'm just like the rest of us surmising.
It was good that he was there last night as well. So
it was,
which would have been a real boost to some of the kids.
Absolutely, and that shows that there is a commitment to him for riding in this country, for supporting this country. So there's that sort of. I'm going to come out with a big word now. There's a real dichotomy. I can't joke.
Ty killed his chances of agreeing to go back to the Dogheads. Should have kept away. Said,
Matt, would you like to say something to that?
I'll just go and hide.
Yeah.
As I've said earlier, I think if he'd have known that his Polish team were going to get in the playoffs, I don't think he would have come back to Wolves. I mean, he's been very critical of the British tracks, hasn't he? So
he has, yeah, and he got injured, of course, the other week.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, he riding Wolves last time probably cost him the World Championship as well. So
possibly, but it's ifs and buts. It's always ifs and buts, isn't it?
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he's not going to be back at Wolves next year. And it's interesting because with Freddie Lindgren back in the GPs, will he be back at Wolves next year?
Yeah, well, yes.
So it might be a interesting winter at Monmouth Green.
I think it's going to be an interesting close season for the sport.
Yeah,
I think there's stuff in the offing. I think there might be possibility of leagues amalgamating. There's certainly rumours of what's the word I'm looking for? Unrest in the National League. Between the two different types of teams within the National League, it's going to be interesting. And I think we said off air that I think my personal view is that Tony Moll's decision on where we're racing next week will be predicated. That's another one on two different sort of bits of information, if you like. What the crowds are like for the finals and the semi-finals,
and the results,
and what happens in the AGM.
Yeah,
I think that's. Yeah, so I think we're in for an interesting evening. Wolves down to Premier League.
No chance.
Olympic Stan.
It'll never happen.
You never know.
Marcus van Stratton's there.
Well, there might not be an elite league, of course. So that's.
Well, Chris Van. Well, yeah. That is very true, but. Chris Van Stratton's always said that as long as he remains at Wolves, the club will always ride at the highest level possible. Wolves have tried to run in the lower leagues, and it's not worked.
I bet you would like that to have a local derby with Cradley. I bet you'd like that to be on the menu again.
Well, that's my dream, really, for them to be in the same league so that we can beat them up again. So.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Well, we've done that, of course. That's I can tell you, it is rather nice.
It is rather nice. I mean, I do remember it well. It's a long time ago since we were last in the same league as Cradley, but we had some great times winning there.
I don't think we ever did beat Cradley up. Well, not in the times that. Yeah, not the times that I was supporting them. I think we probably did when they were a feeder track for Birmingham, which was nice. And of course, they're back to their true metal.
I've got some fantastic stories from Wolves Cradley meetings. I wish I could share some of them.
Oh, you have to tell me later. Right, okay, well...
Are they all broadcastable?
Some of them are, some of them maybe not so.
If you could put the map up, we'll have a look at what other stuff we've got going. Oh, we should actually have a look at some of the matches that are going on tonight. Swindon versus Premier League Select.
It was interesting Swindon ran that National League challenge meeting, didn't they? Because they are testing the water about possibly going in the National League next year, especially now with the new track. So the
Premier League Select consists of Chris Harris at number one, Elite League rider, Carl Newman, Elite League rider, he does ride Premier League, Aaron Summers rides both. They all ride both. Yeah, interesting. But if that's a Premier League Select, it sort of shows you what we was talking about earlier, which that the leagues are coming closer together. I think because at the moment it's Swindon Robins 30, Premier League Select 36.
Goodness knows what the crowd is for that.
Yeah, and it's over 13 heats as well. The old race.
Because it could well be Swindon's last meeting at the old Blunsdon.
Yes. If they don't get that point tomorrow, they're not showing. To be fair, that the Swindon Robins riders, Nick Morris, Justin Sedgman, Ryan Tungate, Brady Kurtz, they've got a guest.
Yeah.
Oh dear. He scored no points, by the way. Josh Groznik, Charles Wright, and Stefan Nielsen, and they're being turned over a little bit. What else have we got? We have got, there we go, Red Car versus Rye House. You would expect a Red Car win.
The trouble is, the other day, Rye House, 3 matches in one day.
Did they?
Yes.
At Rye
House, yes.
Well,
by all accounts, they didn't exactly rush it through either.
So it's Red Car Bears 33, and it's Rye House.
Sorry.
39.
Oh.
Wow. So I got that wrong. That's okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you. And the last match we're watching,
Ipswich and
Ipswich versus Newcastle.
There's no link.
Ah, okay. You have to go to the Speedway.
The idiot who put this together.
Wonder who that was. Matt, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Okay.
So you'll find that on the Speedway updates, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Before we go off on air.
Yeah.
So the next time we meet, Wolves will know who they're racing against.
Well, officially, they'll know they're racing against. I think I've got a fair idea already who it's going to be.
I think Bellevue are going to come out straight away and say so.
They're going to either Laxall or Swindon, aren't they? So whoever gets that.
So you'll know who. Yeah.
Next season will be two Premier Leagues, North South, supported by National League.
Okay.
Might be the way to go.
The idea of a North-South league does intrigue me. Actually,
Yeah,
would be a possibility. I think in that.
Swindon dropping down with Wolves.
Comparisons there with the Premier League 1, Premier League 2.
He really wants Wolves to drop down, doesn't he? I tell you what, if Wolves and Swindon dropped into the Premier League, well, either wouldn't be an elite league, but if they did, that's got to be the league that Birmingham's got to be in.
Yeah,
would have to be, wouldn't it? Really, could get those sorts of meetings. But well, we shall see. We shall see. Well. So
we've run out of time.
Yeah, and will we know our opponents? We'll sort of will, whether it'll be official by then, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Stan, for your interesting comments tonight. See you all.